Well, hi there, family. Welcome to another It's Souptober. And I've got another great recipe for you guys. Give me just a little bit to get these ingredients together, and Grammie will be right back, and we're going to do some cooking together today in the kitchen. Be right back. Okay guys, I'm back. So let me tell you what we've got going on tonight. I have a friend named Joni. She's one of my friends through YouTube. And me and her were having a conversation through email. And we got to talking about dumplings. And I mentioned that my grandmother used to make a corned beef potato dumpling. And sometimes she would use ham, and sometimes she would use roast beef. She would use whatever she had. And she said, my grandmother made that too. And so she said, do you know the recipe? And I said, I don't know the recipe, but I'm going to try to recreate that for you guys tonight just by going by my flavors, thinking about what she had in it. Now, the one thing that I'm not for sure, because me and Joni didn't go into detail about the way that her grandmother's was made, I'm hoping that hers wasn't a potato dumpling, like the dumpling wasn't made from potato dough. Because my grandmother didn't make that. She made an actual dumpling out of flour. So I'm hoping that me and Joni are on the right page, because I sure did want to make her happy. Okay, so what we've got going on, let me show you all this delicious ingredients that's going on there. I got my pan getting warm. Okay, I'm going to kind of turn you guys down, and I'm going to show you everything that we've got. We got lots of delicious ingredients tonight. Okay, first we've got 1 stick of butter. I'm going to go ahead, it's margarine. I kind of like to pretend like I paid the expensive price, but I got margarine. Butter is so much better for you. And when I can afford it, I definitely buy it when it's on sale and try to have a whole bunch of it. And I'm using another one of the beautiful things that Miss Mary made me. And tonight it says, don't go baking my heart. Don't go baking my heart. I have 4 of the Yukon Gold Potatoes. You can use any kind of potatoes you want in this. I got these because they were $1 cheaper than the rest of them. That's honest God's truth. It's a half of a large red onion. I've got some green onion cut up. This is going to be a garnish for later. It's not actually going in the stew. I got some baby carrots. This would probably equal about 2 of the really large carrots. I like them because I don't have to peel them or anything. I just throw them in the pot. I just like them like that. And then I have 2 ribs of celery. So you can already tell this is going to be flavorful. I've taken a can of evaporated milk, put it in there, and this is a 4-cup measuring cup, and I've pretty much got it filled to the top. And we're probably going to have to add some water, but I'm going to use that to add water. Now for my ham, I'm so proud of this. Found this at Aldi's, and I got this ham steak for $3.03, and look how pretty that is. And so we're going to cut that up, and that's going to be our ham. You can use all different kinds of ham in this. Like I said, you can use any kind of meat you got. This was kind of my grandmother was raised by her grandparents. Her mother passed away when she was 6, and her mother and father were divorced, and he had already moved away and remarried, and she was so used to being with her grandfather and her grandmother, she didn't want to go, so her daddy let them raise her. And so my great-great-grandparents were Irish, and so they ate a lot of stews and dumplings and different things like that. And so corned beef and potatoes was like one of my favorite dishes that my grandmother would make when I was a kid. And one day we're going to make that. But tonight we're going to make the potato ham dumpling soup. So I'm going to cut this potato up. I've got my butter melting. So you're going to start off with 1 stick of butter melting, because you're going to saute this stuff, and it's just going to make those flavors come together. But I've got everything else prepped except for this ham. And so we're just going to take this ham and we're just going to start cubing it. You can make everything as thick and as chunky as you want it, or as thin as you want it. This soup, I'm kind of wanting it to be a little thick. I'm going to try to cut off some of that fat. My dogs will be happy to have that later. I don't like it, so it probably would make the soup much better. And if my grammar's not correct, just remember I'm Southern and we're allowed to get away with bad grammar. We are allowed to do it. Okay, so I'm going to pull that meat off of there. You can see this is some pretty ham meat. But you could do this with a ham hock you have left. That's what they did in the old days. This was kind of like something that they would do to get rid of that leftover meat to feed a large family. And they were raising my grandmother, and they still had young children at home. My grandmother had aunts and uncles that were raised like siblings. My great-grandmother was their oldest child, and my grandmother was their oldest grandchild. And they ended up raising her. And she had lots of fond memories being raised by her grandfather. His name was Angus Kilgo. Is that not an Irish name? If you've never heard an Irish name, that's an Irish name. He was a redhead, and he was a foreman for the road crew of Mississippi. And he had an English bulldog who would go to work with him and ride on the grader. So lots of wonderful stories on that side of the family. And I sure wish I got to meet them, and if they had their heart right with Jesus, I'm going to get to see them again. I'm going to get to see them in heaven and get to meet them, and that's going to be a joyous thing. So, and I'll get to see my grandmother again. Now, my grandmother had a near-death experience, and I think I've shared this before, but she actually seen her mother waiting for her at the gates, and she heard the voice behind her mother, and her mother turned around and said, "Yes, Lord," and then turned back to my grandmother and said, "Baby, it's not your time. You have to go back." So my grandmother as an adult got to see her mother in heaven standing at the door. Isn't that wonderful? So my grandmother never doubted that there was a heaven because she had seen it. Well, she had seen a glimpse of it. She could hear people laughing and joyful things going on behind. So let's take this, and I'm just going to put this over here on the wrap because I might do something for my little animals later. So let's see what we got going on. Oh, goodness gracious. So let me get the camera moved over here and where you guys can see, and I'll be right back. Guys, you can see that we have got this butter in this pan, and I'm going to go over here and get my IKEA spoon. My friend Regina on here, she said she is spoon jealous. She said, "Oh, she's got some Paula Deen spoon." I said, "Well, Paula Deen's got some nice spoons too." So does the Pioneer lady. So let's put that in there. I'm going to add a whole tablespoon of salt, and I'm going to go ahead and put my seasonings in this butter so that it wraps around these veggies. I got a teaspoon of pepper, a teaspoon of seasoning salt, a teaspoon of garlic and cumin. Okay, and let's kind of get those. I always like to add my seasonings into my liquid when I first start, or my oil or whatever I'm cooking, because to me it seems like it coats those vegetables and you get those flavors with every bite. So now we're going to kind of saute these vegetables. We're going to add these carrots in there. Now, I could have cut those carrots a little smaller, but hey, I like a chunky soup. I'm almost like on the verge of stews when I make soup. And we're going to go ahead and add these potatoes in here. They've been washed and peeled. And with the Yukon, they have such a thin thin skin. You could actually get away with leaving the skin on there. So let's get this turned up and get these sauteed. And when everything kind of starts to get a good little saute browning, then we'll start adding the rest of our stuff. We're going to go ahead and add this ham in there too. Look at that beautiful ham. My husband's going to love this. It's got everything he loves in it. He loves ham. And I think I lost one. I always have one that jumps out of the boat. I did last night. Okay. So now what we're going to do is I need a sous chef. I tell you, whenever you're making soups and stuff, I need a sous chef. I wonder if Grandpa Harold would make a good sous chef. right, boy, get to cutting.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, get to cutting.
Never a day off.
On second thought, maybe I ought to just cut that stuff up myself. He's a good sport. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to mix up some dumpling batter, and we're going to roll it out. So what I want to do is, I've got maybe about a cup and a half of, I have to find my, there we go, my parchment paper so I'll have something to roll it out on. So we're going to, and I'm going to turn you guys down so you can see. But I need to make space because I got some mess over here. So, tomorrow we are going to make a chicken tortellini soup. We're going to go for a clear soup. We've made chili, that's a tomatoey soup. And we're going to have the tortellini soup, which is going to be made with chicken stock and chicken breast, and it's going to be delicious. I can't wait for it. So out of this cup and a half of flour, I'm actually going to take a handful and just kind of sprinkle it around. Let's get you turned down. Sometimes I forget to turn you down, and I forget you're not standing beside me and you can't see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to get enough flour around here so that I will have something to roll my dumplings. We're not going to put a lot of dumplings in this. And so I've got a half a cup of milk, and I've got probably about 3 tablespoons of butter going into this. And so I'm going to come over here, and you see I've got my butter and I've got my half a cup of milk. And let's move this over here just a little bit so we can have room to work. And I'm just going to take my fork and I'm going to cut that butter into there. And it's cold butter, because to me you just get a better bread. I'm gonna have to make some more room. Let's take the old bread basket and let's set it over here so I can make this a little bit. There we go. Now then, Grammie can do some cooking. Sometimes I don't get the set just right before I start. So I'm gonna take this, I'm just gonna kind of work it. And we're just going to keep working until we got a good dough and that butter is up in that flour very good and incorporated and makes us a nice rich dough to. And now I'm going to switch to my hand. Like I said, we don't need a lot. Now when my grandma made a pan of chicken and dumplings, she made enough for 2 or 3 nights. And she also had sons that would come by to see what was cooking and see what she was cooking, see what she had, daughter with the son-in-law, grandkids. So she always made sure when she was making something, she made enough to feed a good many people. And if we didn't come, she called and said, hey, I made chicken and dumplings tonight. Nobody showed up. We all got in our car real quick. Got over to her house. My grandma was a good cook. Both of my grandmas was good cooks. Okay. So we got that. So we're going to take our dough. We're going to pat it out. I'm going to go get me a rolling pin because I'm going to want to roll these out. Let me wash my hands real quick and I'll be right back. Hey guys, I got my old rolling pin. Let's get some flour on that. And let's roll these out. And you want them pretty thin. Now my Granny Newman, who was the one I was telling you the story about seeing her grandma in heaven, she did these kind of dumplings. She rolled them out. Let's put a little flour on top of there. We're starting to stick. And she rolled them out pretty thin. And then my other grandma did a drop dumpling. She said, ain't nobody got time to roll them things out. She said, when I was young, I had to be in the field and had a baby on my hip. Which my other grandma was a little bit of a different. She wasn't a sharecropper's wife, and they didn't work in the fields. They did raise a garden, but they both worked outside the home. My grandfather was a roofer, and he had his own business, and so she had a fairly decent living. So now I'm going to get me a knife. Dry my hands. And so I'm just going to cut down. Let me get some flour on here. I almost forgot I hadn't made these in so long. Because my husband doesn't really care for dumplings. He doesn't like chicken and dumplings. He doesn't like boiled chicken. It's not the dumplings he doesn't like. It's the boiled chicken. He doesn't mind roasted chicken or anything like that. So we're just going to kind of go down and cut them. We'll cut this in a little thin. I'm going to put some thick in there. And you could just use water. You didn't have to put the milk and the butter in there. I just wanted to kind of do mine a little fancier since you guys are watching tonight. But my grandmother, she seldom used butter in any of her baking stuff. She used a scoop of lard and everything. Or bacon grease. I am not lying to you. So, and now we're just going to go ahead and cut across here. Let me get some. I'm going to make my dumplings about like that. Make sure we get them hard. And I tell you, you can use a pizza cutter for this too. It'll make things so much easier for you. But I'm trying to do them like my granny did. I'm trying to do this and put it together like my grandma did for you guys. Like she did for us when we were little. Because it's something about the old way of cooking. And I do so many simple recipes. I just kind of want to show you guys that I can make some stuff. Well, there's our dumplings. And we're just going to kind of sprinkle them with flour. Kind of pull them apart. Get them in the flour. And they're going to be good. Now, my grandma used to do long strips. But I'm going to do little tiny ones because that's how I like it. You get more dumplings. You get more dumplings in there. And you don't just get one big old bite of dumpling and then you're done. You get a little bite here, a little bite there. So, I'm just going to kind of get these rolled around in the flour so that when they go in the soup, they kind of don't stick together. So you kind of want to get that flour around there on them. I think that's going to be good. We got one couple here. There we go. We have made some dumplings. So now let me wash my hands. We're going to go back over to the pot. And we're going to see if we're ready to start adding the liquid to it. Alrighty, let's check these vegetables and see if they's done. Because they's smelling good. They're smelling good. I kind of want you to see kind of where you want them to get. And this will make your meal go quicker. If you can get these a little bit tender. Oh my goodness, yes. Now the carrots are what I'm worried about. The carrots are there. So we're going to stir this up. We're going to turn the heat down just a little bit. I had it over like a medium high, and so I put it at a medium low. Yes, these vegetables are good to start adding our milk to, but we want to make sure that our milk doesn't scorch. So let's go ahead and start adding that slowly in there. And we're going to have to add more liquid because we have to have enough liquid. So we're going to go back for 2 more cups and I'll see where it's at. This is kind of something you have to do by your eye. And you definitely could put chicken stock in here, veggie stock, or beef stock. It's up to you. But I figure with the butter and that evaporated milk in there, we're good. So we want to let this come up back up to a boil. Look how good and rich and delicious that looks. And now, we're not having a bread with this tonight because our bread's going to be in it. So you're going to have everything you need in there and it's going to be delicious. It's going to be delicious. So I'm going to try to take that heat up just a little bit. I'm going to put it straight medium. And the reason I like to do mine on the wax paper is because I can bring it right over to the stove. Have them right there. And they're ready to add in as soon as we get our temperature back up. And we're going to be eating this in probably the next 10 minutes. Just depending on how long it takes for them dumplings to get done. I'm telling you, this is going to be good. It's going to be good. And you could serve this with some cheese and some sour cream and some crumbled bacon. Oh, But we're just going to eat it this way tonight because this is the way my grandma served it. And Miss Joni, I sure hope this is the way your grandma made it. She probably didn't put all these veggies in there. My grandmother didn't always put all these veggies in it. Like I said, it was a depression meal. My Granny Newman was quite a bit older than my mom's mother because my dad was one of her younger children, where my mom was the oldest on the other side. And so she was born in 1926, and she kind of lived through World War II, knew how to ration things, learned how to just have stuff. So a lot of times she would just have onions, potatoes, and meat in here. But you know, I thought, I have them. Why not throw them in there? You can't go wrong with celery. You can't go wrong with carrots. And it just adds a little color to our soup, doesn't it? I just think it makes it beautiful. So once we get this up to another roaring bubble, I'm going to come back, and then we're going to drop these dumplings in there. I'm going to show you how I drop dumplings. I'll be right back. Okay, family. Okay, family, we are at a boil again, and we are ready to do some dumpling dropping. So, what I like to do is I like to take like a spoon like this, kind of drop 3 or 4 of them on there, shake some of that flour off, and drop them down in there. And I just continue to do that till I get them all dropped. And they're going to be delicious. And like I said, this is plenty of dumplings for this little thing right here. We got just a handful more. And there we go. One more. And then we can take this and just roll it up and throw it away. You want to save that flour and sift it. I didn't really have enough left to save. Got me a damp towel. So now we're going to take our spoon and we're just going to kind of push those down a little bit to make sure everybody gets it in the pool. And I'm not going to stir, because if I stir, we're going to run our dumplings. So I'm going to kind of half put the lid on here, and then we're just going to let those cook. See if I can't get that to balance. Sometimes things just don't want to work out for me. Kind of hold that in there a little bit. And you probably want to let them go for about 10 minutes. Let them get good and done. Good and done. Okay, family, now we can take these and kind of give them a little bit of a stir. They kind of got a little hold to them. Just a slight stir. Kind of make sure they're getting in there. They're going to be so good. Look at that. So let's go for about 5 more minutes. Then we're going to plate these up. And we're going to show y'all how delicious these things are. Grammie will be right back. Man, I'm enjoying making these soups with you guys. Be back. Okay, family. These ham dumplings is done, and we fixing to plate them up. Let me turn you down so you can see what we're doing. And they are a-boiling, and they are hot. So we're going to want to get underneath those dumplings, because they all float to the top to get some of that delicious ham and potatoes. And then get some dumplings. Look at that, guys. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, my goodness. And I'm going to hit it with some, can you guys see right there? Some cracked pepper. And a little bit of green onion. Oh my goodness, check that out, you guys. Don't that look good? Don't that look good? And look at those big old ham chunks in there and those big potatoes. Like I said, if you like your stuff smaller, you don't even have to have potatoes in there. You can take these potatoes and you can mash them all the way down and just let them be sauce in there. I'm going to kind of pull that off that heat, or we ain't never going to be able to eat this soup. Alright, let's see if I can get one blow down. Let's see. Let's move you guys over here. And let's see if I can get one to blow down enough to see if I can get it to eat it without it cooking me to death. Let's see. So I want some with a little bit of ham and a dumpling and a potato, and I think I got it. Ooh, that's hot. Let's put a thing underneath there. It's even hot in that bowl. Oh my gosh, y'all. I'm at my grandma's table. I'm at my grandma's table. Y'all gotta try this one. It's delicious. If you like creamy, potato-y, vegetable-y, hammy dumplings, it's gonna be good. And remember, you can change that meat out for corned beef, roast beef, whatever you've got, hamburger, chicken. My grandma made it all kinds of ways. But usually she made it after she had a ham hock that we used a ham steak. And this is hot. My fingers are not tender because I've cooked so much in my life and I still can't pick that bowl up. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is the second installment of soups and chilies because it's fall, y'all. I don't know if that's exactly what I put in the other one, but hey, that's the gist of it. You guys have a wonderful, blessed evening. I love you guys. Tomorrow you're going to get 2 videos because you're going to get a soup video and you're going to get an Encouragement Wednesday. I love you guys. God bless you. Till next time, I'm Grammie Nae Nae.